when I see a story, I don't give up on it easily. Weeks and weeks ago, I saw this tiny little story about Norwegian woman claiming record time for climbing the world's 14 highest peaks, and she was still doing it at the time. And we tried to do a cross with it; it was too difficult. This is Kristin Harila. Well, since then, there's been lots of controversy, but let me tell you what she has done. She's completed the fastest ascent of all of the world's 14 highest mountains, completing the round in 3 months and 1 day, 3 months and 5 days faster than the previous record held by Nirmal Nims Purja. Now, from being a background of being a professional skier. Now, we wanted to get, because I was like, we have to get this woman on the show. And then since then, there's been all this controversy. And I always like to say this show is about getting the full picture. The smaller picture, many of you might have seen online, there's a lot of criticism that Kristin has come in for, because shown online was a picture of Mohammed Hassan, a porter, during that ascent of K2. He sadly fell, I think, 8,000 feet. And the video appeared to show climbers stepping over his dying body, and the criticism came, this woman is just so focused on getting to the top, she doesn't care. That was that bit of a picture. As a result, Kristin's come in for a lot of flack. So Kristin, thank you for joining me so much. As you know, we've been trying to get hold of you long before this controversy started, but I want to address that because I want to try and get some, people see a small snapshot of what happened and not the whole one of a very tragic picture. And it's a very scary situation, and you don't get to see all of that. You just get to see, I've got to stay alive on this ledge and what's happening now. What actually happened? Mohammed Hassan fell, and your team actually did try to help.
Yeah. First, it's just a very tragical accident on one of the most dangerous mountains in the world, and we feel so sorry for Hassan himself and for his family.
Yeah. But the whole thing that you ignored in or everything, you did try to, members of your team did try to help.
Yeah, we did for hours, and we were the first one that was there. We didn't see actually his fall when he fell, but we were very close. There was one guy that was number one in this line, and then Hassan fell, he was number two. And then it was four of other climbers or Sherpas in between before Lama came, and then I was in the line. So we didn't see actually when he fell, but we saw him hanging upside down about 5 meters from this very, very narrow trail. And on the other side, there's a very steep overhanging ice serac, like a big ice block. And on the other side, it's right down. And that's where he was hanging, not very far from the trail where we all try to pass this very dangerous area. And very early after this happened, I said to Lama, we need to do something. I know Lama is probably the strongest Sherpa in the world, and I know he's like so capable of climbing. And I said to him, we need to do something. So we clip around these 3 people, and this number 3 in the line, he also tried to help with putting up a new ice anchor. And then Lama continued in to Hassan, which is still hanging upside down and with no down suit, and he didn't have oxygen. So it was very hard, but he tried and he couldn't manage. So Lama comes back to the trail, and we put up a rope on him, and I secure him as he climbed up to the upper anchor where the rope was down to Hassan. And from there, we managed to get this number 1 in this line to come back and help. And then we put a rope down to Hassan, and my camera guy, Gabriel, goes into Hassan again. And after a while, we managed to turn him around, and we tried to get him up to the trail again. So it took about 1.5 hours before we got the message on the radio, and we saw a pretty big avalanche on the side of the Serac where this fixing team was. And the message on the radio that we got was that they were having problems. So at this point, we decided to split up. So me and Lama continued to the fixing team to see if they were okay. And Gabriel and another Sherpa came in from 8K to also help to get him up. And his friend, Hassan's friend, also were there. So there were still people working on him to save him. And Gabriel gave him his oxygen mask. So he took off his own because he didn't have oxygen. And he was trying to warm him up and gave him warm water. And he wasn't able to walk anymore. And all these people, this was in the dark. So it's not us in the video that they have been spreading all
But
over.
and that's the problem. People just see that video, and somebody says, "This is this woman, and this is what she's doing," and
Yeah, no.
and then you get all of the flack for it. So that is thank you for talking about, as we say, is a very tragic thing to happen. Mountain climbing, though, as I said, you have claimed a world record. But when I look at pictures like that, and everybody says, why? It's hard for anybody. You were a skier before. Why on earth did you get involved in risking your life climbing mountains?
Yeah, right now I'm like wondering myself because it's been this tragical accident and it's been all about that. And it was a very traumatic episode for all of us.
Are you still affected by the whole thing and seeing and going through that and then almost being blamed?
Yeah, for sure. We all are in our team, and people are threatening to kill us. And it's been
Are you what?
Yeah, it's been really bad in social media after this, and we had to just stop all the comments because it's been crazy, and people blaming us for not trying to save him, and we did try for many hours. And we couldn't have done.
So you're saying that despite everything you've done, when something like this happens, and really normally you would be celebrating, with all of this happening, it's taken the joy out of a passion that you've had, and you're actually asking yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah, for sure. And we have been safe, and I was very glad that we made it and that we were safe, because it's risky to climb this mountain. But of course, this episode and this, like how it ended with Hassan, was has affected all of us a lot, and of course the whole project and the record, and
it's affected all of that.
Yeah.
Do you know, there's one thing that when you see pictures like that, how many people are climbing mountains then? And I know it's been spoken about a lot. There are a lot of mountain climbing tourists, people who normally wouldn't or shouldn't be climbing that. And I'm by Mohammed, I'm not at all, because he was a porter. Although, there, but amongst all those people, there are people who normally would not be on a mountain, but they have the money, the thousands of dollars to go into space or climb a mountain. So for professional mountain climbers, does it make it more problematic? Does it make it more difficult?
Normally it works okay, I have to say. We haven't had much problem with unexperienced climbers or porters or Sherpas. For us it's been okay so far. But of course, Hassan was up there without a down suit, without oxygen, and as we heard and his family said, it was his first 8,000 meter. Normally he goes to base camp as a porter, and if it was someone in our team or my Sherpa, they wouldn't have been up there without a down suit, or especially not without oxygen as K2 as the first 8,000 meter. I have climbed without oxygen, but when I have done it, my Sherpa Lama have emergency bottle and emergency mask and regulator. So when Gabriel gave Hassan his oxygen, he took off his own and put it on to try to save him. So it's not correct that it wasn't done anything to help him. We tried and stayed there for a long time.
And it clearly, anybody who doubts that you're very upset by it is not watching that. I mean, I can see how it has affected you, and you're probably playing it over and over and over again in your head as well. And how long have you been climbing though? Because you're not a beginner by any means.
Now, like I have now 28 8,000 meter, and I before I started to climb this 8,000 meter, I had many 6,000 meter and 7,000 meter. And before I climbed without oxygen, I had very many summits with oxygen, and also I had been climbing most of this mountain very high up without
Mm.
oxygen. So I knew how it was, and we had this emergency bottle when I was without. And I have to say it's much more risky to climb without oxygen than to
Yeah,
climb
yeah,
with.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a very, very experienced climber. Are you planning to do any more climbs after this? Or are you so disheartened and so upset you're thinking, why will I bother?
I'm finished. I'm totally finished. It has
Are
been.
you are you
Yeah, I'm
serious?
finished. Yeah, I'm finished. I'm
Are you
finished. Yeah.
seriously saying you're never going to climb again
I think we should never say never, but now I feel like I'm never going to climb again.
because of this, because of what happened?
Yeah, and also like it's been so much negative around this, and it's like I started to climb because it was fun, and I loved mountains, and I love to be outside, and I love to be on expedition, and and did really enjoy it. And now it's been so much negative around this, and also like all these people commenting in social media, and I'm
Or
just
people,
wondering.
listen, they're probably people who don't even know how to climb up the stairs. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
and
but the thing is, when we, as you know, when we first wanted to talk to you weeks ago, and we kept trying and you were different areas because I saw and tucked away the story, and for me, it was about a strong woman who was taken on the guys, who, and you have a fantastic record of working with Sherpas, and because I go through everything like that,
mm,
and we wanted to talk to you. And then when this came up, the one of the reason I said I'd still like to talk to her, because just from my research, I thought that doesn't sound like the woman that I've been looking into. And it's
yeah,
sad. This is the sad side of social media,
yeah,
that people see a little tiny picture, and then from their little safe homes where they have no idea of what it's like to be on an exposed mountain and do some of the things
mm,
you do, decide to be the judge, jury, and threaten you.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. It's not okay, and I
no.
honestly feel like that the pictures and the video has nothing to do out in social media of a dying man. And
No, you make
you
a
know,
good point. It's disgusting.
it is, and we know that accident happens up there,
Mm, mm.
and I don't think it should be shared. And we have, of course, pictures and film and documentation, and yeah, the GPS track showing how long we did stop there,
Yeah,
and everything. But it's nothing that should be out in the social
it's
media.
not. It's not something that should be chatted about on social media, and people make
No.
up their minds without seeing
Mm.
the full picture. I'm so upset that all of it happened for the family as well,
Yeah.
and that it should happen to someone like yourself. And I mean, being a woman and being a climber, I know there've been all sorts of people will find controversies.
Mm.
It's clearly really affected you.
Yeah.
um there is nothing that I can say, but thank you for being on the show. Thank you, and God bless you. Look after